It's been a long time since I did an extended Learn Something New Every Day video, but this one just simply can't be done well in a minute or less. Look at this painting. Notice the rainbow, and notice how it only has 3 colors: green, yellow, and red. For most of human history, for thousands of years, the color blue simply wasn't part of our language. In all of Homer's works, there are many references to colors, but the word blue does not appear anywhere. As a matter of fact, Homer describes the sea as being dark like wine. He also says that honey is green. No idea what that's about. Many ancient languages, from Greek to Hebrew, completely lack a word for blue entirely. But again, if we look at this painting, the sky is blue, the water is blue, but they didn't include it really anywhere else. So what the heck is going on here? Is blue just an invention, a cultural phenomena like money? Well, maybe. Linguists have taken a look at this, and the appearance of color, or words for color, in languages always, in every culture they've ever studied, goes the same way. First comes black and white. Really, these are just distinctions between lightness and darkness, but then there comes to become specific colors for black and white. Next is always red. You would think perhaps green would be next because, well, other than blue, green is kind of the color in most places that you see the most of, well, with plants and everything. Then either yellow or green will come next, but blue, violet, and purple are always the last words to evolve, or the last colors to be given words, I guess I should say. In some very old Egyptian art, you can see here that the only colors they've used are black, white, and red. They're the only colors that they cared to use. To them, perhaps, these were the only colors that mattered. In several languages, words for black and blue are basically interchangeable. Black isn't really a color, it's sort of the absence of color in reality. And blue can be very dark. Think to Homer describing the seas as being wine red or dark like wine. He didn't mean that the seas literally were red, like wine appears, but that the seas were dark, and there was no word for blue, so he reached for something that was culturally significant, which wine certainly is, to describe the water. And water is all around us. It's a big, important thing. So with words for black and blue and deep purple being interchangeable the same, maybe they viewed the blueness of something as simply a property of it, its darkness. That's not the same as color. Again, something being described as dark is not actually describing its color. In some other languages, blue is considered one of the types of green, so there were interchangeable words for that. Still, other languages, like Russian, don't have a color for blue in general. They have distinct words for dark blue and light blue. I don't know how you could do this, but it would be really interesting to ask somebody who's never heard the sky being described as blue what they think the color of the sky is. If you have a sibling or a cousin, somebody who's really young, ask them what color they think the sky is. Maybe they've never heard that before. Maybe that little kid or the adult who has somehow never heard the sky being described as blue wouldn't say that it is. Maybe they would say the sky doesn't have a color, or they would say the sky doesn't have a color, because we know that the sky can be red, yellow, orange, white. At night, the sky is completely black. It's colorless. Similarly, water can be green, or it can be virtually transparent, or it can be a kind of gray, depending on where you are. So perhaps something as obvious to us as the sky is blue is really actually just a fiction, a fictional idea that we all believe in, just like money. This is a little bit of a tangent, but hearing this reminded me of this book that I reread a few weeks ago called 1491, and it's basically a whole history of pre-Columbian America, and then there's a lot of information about post-Columbian America, just in the few decades after Columbus, because that's where we have first-hand written accounts. Not always very reliable, but the best we can do. And what struck me as very interesting, and you can hear this same sort of thing from Native American peoples that are around today, is that Indigenous Americans did not understand owning land like Europeans did. That was an extremely important thing of, English common law or European law or their culture or whatever. But the Native Americans thought that you couldn't own land. Not necessarily every one of them, but quite a lot of them. It just exists. It's there for everybody. And to us, we were thinking, why don't they get it? But to them, it just was something that was completely missing, like the color blue was from the language of virtually everybody not that long ago. Makes you wonder, what in hundreds of years from now will people look back at us and think, how did they not understand that that's a part of the world? We'll never know. Thanks for watching.